Hi, Chet.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm good. I'm a bit sweaty after the class.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to talk about the last scrapbook.
Yes.
Now, let's imagine.
Yes.
You have an 8-year-old child in front of you. How do you describe, present Jack Cole?
Well, to an 8-year-old child, he's a monster, and he's crazy, and he has an amazing vocabulary, and he makes beautiful dances and makes beautiful women look more beautiful than they may be. Now, to talk to someone who's older, I would say that the show is a love story. It is the trials and tribulations of being a genius that people don't know about, and your career is huge, but few people know about it.
That's a great answer. How the idea for the show came?
Working up at Jacob's Pillow, probably about 10 years ago, between 8 and 10 years ago, I started to research jazz at Jacob's Pillow. And why is it not huge at Jacob's Pillow? Why are other disciplines more? Because it's interesting to understand that. And then I found out that Jack Cole was one of the 4 original dancers for Ted Shawn. Ted Shawn had a male company during the Depression, which those are like, would think 2 strikes against him, but it wasn't. And he was one of the founding members of that. Well, being at Jacob's Pillow for 19 years now, it was interesting enough to find out, why don't we know about this man? Why is someone who's created this art form, which I do, why do I not know enough about him? So I went looking to find out what I could find about him, and there's not so much written material about him. Glenn Loney wrote a book, and so yeah, you can read about that, but then started looking at who was involved, what did people say, and in 2010, I did I have air quotes, a show of 26 ideas of Jack Cole's dance numbers from movies, from television, from theater and nightclubs, and put that together to show people what's the possibility. If you were to look at this man's work, does it excite you? Is it recognizable? And by taking that information that I had, I go around the world and I teach, and I try to impart what musical theater is to the other parts of the world. And then when I would show Jack Cole, they would go, "What's that? Where do you learn that?" And when you look at the younger people or younger generation going, "Where's that? Where's that? Where's that?" You go, "It's in the past," and they like, "Well, how come we don't know about that? What happened? Why don't we know about that?" Then it kind of gives you the, "Oh, well, maybe you should do something about that," like I did when we did Fosse.
So you did. This is a show about a choreographer,
Right.
And you already did a show about another choreographer.
Yes.
Kind of same time period.
Ah.
So is that something that you think about or not at all?
No, because I use the phrase, before Jerome Robbins and before Bob Fosse, there was Jack Cole.
Yeah.
And for the jazz world, which is where Mr. Fosse would be mostly be considered, the work that he showed is really a great deal of the work of Jack Cole.
Yeah.
So they're similar and totally 2 different things. Jack Cole has a technique where Mr. Fosse's work is a style. Now, Mr. Cole has styles, but he has a technique. It's a 2-hour warm-up, which we never get through because classes are always an hour and a half. Even at the Pillow, when we got through some of it, but it's a 2-hour warm-up. And in that period of time, all the choreography that he would ever do comes out of that, which is what technique is all about. There's a technique that gets you ready to do the choreography. So, in a sense, they're 2 different shows. They're totally 2 different shows. There's more known about Mr. Fosse's work that you can pull, and that I worked with him for such a long time. Where Jack Cole, most of it is in movies and some television, and stage shows. Very little exists. So you kind of have to pull to try to get a sense of what the work is. And so what we say is, we're doing an homage to Mr. Cole's work. It is not the definitive. There's no one that taught his work. Maddox did for a while, but then decided that he wanted to do his own thing. He, of course, contacted Mr. Cole. There's no one that teaches it. When the last several dancers were alive, we asked that question, how come people didn't teach it? And their answers, with tears in their eyes, really, was the fact that we didn't know we should. We didn't know we could, and didn't even think about it because it was Jack's. So it's kind of interesting about not passing it on, or they feeling that they could pass it on. So that's why I tell everyone we are doing an homage, an honor to this man's work.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So you are practicing with a lot of choreography in the show, I guess, I suppose.
Well, there's 8. There's probably about 14 numbers that we're extracting from Mr. Cole's work, and then about 8 new numbers.
So that's a lot.
Yeah, for me, it's an awful lot. Yeah.
So how do you deal with that? I know you do the workshops in that Jacob Pillow.
Yeah. The interesting thing is we know what he did. Now my job needs to create this musical where the choreography is new for the new numbers.
Yeah.
Don't look so like they're from another show.
Yeah.
And so I think that's hard seems like it's impossible, but like that's the challenge.
Yeah.
I got an amazing compliment from Steven Schwartz regarding the last Pippin that we did. He said to my collaborator, Sean McKenna, who's writing the last scrapbook, he said, it was hard to tell when Fosse ended and Chet began, that it was seamless between the two. And like, to me, that's like an amazing compliment. And when I listened to that, I went, that's what I'm going to have to do with Jack Cole too. That it will be, you have to somehow seamlessly preserve his work, and yet the numbers that are about him have to also have the influence, but not look like they come from out of space.
That's very interesting. What's the future for the show?
Yeah.
Reading?
We had our reading. Well, we've done workshops here at Steps. We went to Jacob's Pillow this summer. We did 3 weeks of what I would consider an homage to Mr. Cole's work, and probably one of our best sessions that we had. Then Sean and I went to London and we did a reading. We recorded it. We got feedback. We talked to Stephen and told him we have a composer on board.
So now it's in the field, because at the Pillow you didn't have.
We didn't have a composer. Now we have a composer, and we are at the point. Hopefully, within the next 2 months, we'll do a full-blown workshop. We'll do it in London. We will be able to video the entire thing and be able to use that video as kind of like a commercial for the show here in the States. Now, simultaneously, we're working here in the States to be able to get this to go as well. We're not giving up on the English aspect of it, because it's a way of going outside of this country and working on things with a little bit more freedom than being here with the constraints. Creation is hard to do when you have a time limit, when you give yourself time limits that go over a period of time. Then I think the process is, I won't say easier, but more fulfilling for everybody.
So do you have like a month or a year in mind to like the opening first?
Oh no, I won't say that. No, because the moment you put that out into the world, people go, hello. So no.
Okay, no problem. All right, so the last question.
Yes.
What would you say, or to maybe just say to someone who tried to create and build his own show?
It's one of the most frustrating possibilities in life, because you know so much of what you want to say and what you want to do. And a key to me was, once one of my collaborators said, Chetty, just because you want to do it doesn't necessarily mean anyone wants to see it. And I went, but no, if I want to do it, someone will want to see it. And when I backed off it and I listened to the truth of that, sometimes the ideas that you come up with then need to be looked at. Are they commercial? Or do what I want to do, I want to do it no matter what, and it finds its own place. So I think you have to kind of keep going in a direction, and it kind of tells you what it's going to do. When you get stuck, there's a reason. If you try to pitch it to someone and their face scrunches up, that's telling you something. When people get excited about it, then you're going in the right direction for those people. One of the interesting things about Mr. Fosse was that he would always say about he wanted to please an audience. That's so hard, because in an audience there's so many different people. But that says that you have to have something for everyone, maybe. And in the process, you have to please yourself. So I think you start with an idea and see where it takes you. And if you journal where you said it was going to take you, at the very end of it will probably be nowhere near it. And I think that's what creation is about.
Great.
Yeah?
Thank you, Jeff.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Good luck to you.